Hey guys, this is just a quick deck profile. Sorry there's not been anything in a while. This is what I've been playing recently, deck-wise. For locals, this is what I've been using. You can actually find me on a couple streams from our locals, Jake Quincy and Hello Man. This is what I've been playing. Really enjoy it. I think it's really cool. I think it's more fun, more interactive than the Bird Up variant. It's Zoodiac Tri-Brigade. It's relatively cheap. Price on fractals depending, I'm not actually sure what they are off the top of my head, but it's cheaper than the Bird Up build. You don't need Pot of Prosperity. Really fun, really interactive, and just a generally cool deck. So I'm going to jump straight into it. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, hit like, hit sub, drop a comment, share with people. You know how YouTube works, you know how the algorithm works. And yeah, I'm going to try and hopefully get back into uploading. Zoo-wise, we're playing Rat, Ram, and Whip. This is standard, thanks to Vlad from Topping the Extravaganza. This is just what's kind of accepted to be playing. Originally, I was also playing a Whip and a second Whip and a Thoroughblade, but just having the three, these are enough. I didn't think they'd be enough when I first built the deck, but no, these are enough. Rat to send, so you have Tri-Brigade fodder. Ram to protect against Imperm and other targeting trap effects, and then the Whiptail for the banish to clear off like a defense position window, or a Caliga is just really good, really nice to have. And yeah, this is I don't think I would change the Zoo lineup right now. Tri-Brigade wise, this is where I vary slightly from kind of the standard lists, in that I'm playing 3 copies of Fractal, 3 copies of Nerval, and this is standard. But then I am playing only 2 copies of Kit, and I'm maxing out on the Keras. So the reason behind this is obviously Fractal and Nerval are your, you have to play 3 of these, because the Fractal sends the Nerval, and the Nerval gets you your search. The Fractal is also the biggest one, and he's a Beast Warrior, so he's searchable of Tenki, so Fractal is the best. The reason behind 2 and 3 rather than 3 and 2 is because I prefer to have the free special summon, and there are a lot of times where I will have a kit and I will send it, and then I will have nothing I really want to send and I choose to not activate the kit, or I end up just dumping a Keras anyway. So the third Keras is kind of like an additional fodder to send off of kit if you need to, if you've already resolved your Nerval, but otherwise, like, the 2 kit does the job, it's fine. I don't really think you need the third, but I will proceed to test it. Hand traps, 3 Ash, 3 Droll, and 2 Ghost Bell. Bell hits a lot of stuff in the format at the minute. Hits Invocation if they don't have Meltdown. Droll turns off Invoked Shaddoll Dogmatica, also really good against Dragon Link. And then Ash hits Prank Kids and is just, it's decent against every deck, but it's not amazing against any deck. So like, this is the one that you'll side out quite frequently, because it's good against Rogue, which is why you can't really afford not to main deck it, but it doesn't have as much of the impact as you would get from things like Droll. Spells, we're playing the 1 Barrage and 3 Tenki for obvious reasons. Tenki is your searcher, and Barrage is a free summon, so you know you have to play these. Barrage especially, really nice when you see it, because it's just a free extender, it's a free link material. Or a free Zeus if you are going second. Then we're playing 3 Desires, because it says draw 2, and this is a trap-based deck, and you currently cannot search Revolt because Bear Bloom isn't out, so you play Desires over Prosperity. You also use a lot more of the extra deck in this build compared to Bird Up, so you can definitely afford this and the Banish 10 from the main deck more than you can afford the Banish 6 from the extra deck, or the Banish 3 from the extra deck off of Prosperity, and it gets you 1 extra card, so it's a +1 rather than a net neutral. So that's always really nice. Final spells we're playing are 3 copies of Dark Ruler, because we're in a format where if you go second, you need a blowout card rather than just multiple hand traps, so this is just better to play. And the 1 Called by the Grave for when we're going first, because you do want to go first in this deck. You definitely opt to go first, but if you don't get that liberty, that's when the Dark Rulers come into play, and your deck is mostly 1 card starters, so if you see like Dark Ruler going first, it makes no difference, you're perfectly fine. Trap wise, 3 Revolt, 3 Judgment, 3 Strike, sorry, 1 Imperial Order. Imperial Order auto win against like heavy spell decks. This card is incredible. There's no reason not to main deck it because you have the room. Strikes are really, really good against things like if they normal the Alistair, you can strike it. You can strike Dragon Links, you can hit like the LP. Strike's just really, really good. It's like the best Solemn at the minute, I'd say, because there is more sort of monster effects than there is kind of hard summoning. So, you know, Warning's kind of dodgy, and then Judgment, yeah, you want to hit, there's a lot of back row, but, you know, Judgment kind of just works better in the side, because if your opponent's going to, like, Nibiru you, because you go first, you make a reserved play, and then turn 3, you make your more extravagant plays, you want the Strike to protect from the Nib. Strike's really, really good against Prankids, because you can hit the Prankid in the grave and turn off the turn. It's probably the better one for right now. And then Revolt, best card in the deck. I used to say that Bird Up was better because you didn't play this, and I used to think this card was overrated. After playing it, not at all overrated. This is the best card in the theme. This card is insane. It's soul charged. That also, I wasn't paying attention to the fact that whatever you link summon with this, the materials you send, so say you summon like a Banish, Shirag, Nerval kit, you then get to trigger the kit, the Nerval, and the Shirag and chain block and do crazy things, and this card is just bonkers. Early game, late game, mid game, it's always good to see. It's such a crazy comeback enabler. It's absurd. So definitely the better build to play right now. Especially considering that we're in like a slightly grindier format. So absolutely play the Revolt. Onto the extra deck, we are playing quite standard. 2 copies of Ferrijit, 1 copy of Rugal, 2 copies of Shirag. So the reason behind this is obviously Shirag is your non-targeting banish, and he searches as soon as he hits the grave, doesn't matter from where. So on the off chance you get Maximus mid-game, search anything. The banish outs Dragoon, it outs Winder. You can out Winder with 1 special summon in this deck, so that's absolutely mental. Yeah, Shirag is probably one of the better cards in the extra deck. It's probably the best card in the extra deck, and one of the best cards in the deck as a whole, besides Revolt. So definitely play 2. I would maybe consider playing 3, but I don't know where you'd make the room for it. The Rugal is basically a stepping stone, but you do actually have situations where you will sit on a Rugal with a Shirag under it and just keep looping to get free vanishes. But the Rugal is more so just link climbing for your main combo, because it's relatively generic in the context of the deck. And then the Ferrijits are a free summon, and then when they hit the grave you cycle a card, so you can cycle into things like Imperial Order, Desires, Revolt is the main one you want to cycle into. And then obviously the free summon, if you've like, say you've had to use your normal summon, the free summon is really, really helpful. This card is insane. Obviously once Bear Bloom comes out, extra deck's going to change a little bit. I feel like you'd probably cut one of the Ferrijits, because the odds of you going into 2 once Bear Bloom's out, like Revolt is such a blowout card, you probably won't need the second. Other links, we're playing Almirage, because you can summon this off of 1 Nerval or 1 kit, and it triggers them because they get sent to grave. So this is better than Linkaribo because it triggers the kit if you draw kit. Double Dragon Lords, this card is absolutely mental. Send any card from hand or field to grave from your side of the field to bounce a card on the opponent's bounce a face-up card your opponent controls to the hand. Like, this thing's cost triggers Nerval and kit and Shirag. So the amount of times you plus off of this while also bouncing an opponent's card is mental, and I love it. I think this card is so good. This card I'm kind of iffy on. I don't think it's as good as it is in Bird Up, simply because you don't play as many winds. Like, the only main deck wind monster you're playing are Droll and Nerval. So this is still really, really good, and it's a really good beater. It's also just good because it's a Link 3 stepping stone, but you're not using it as often to like OTK as you were in Bird Up, because in Bird Up you could summon this a lot quicker, and also the format's changed, there's a lot more monsters in grave. But the return to deck is really, really good. If you're playing against like Eldritch and you shuffle that Eldritch back into the deck, they don't have the access to it. That's really, really nice to have. Final two links, playing Appaloosa because this is part of your end board. And I'm playing Boral Sword. This would be an access code if I had one. Unfortunately, I'm broke, but this card actually has situations where it is better than the access code. You're never really starved for link materials, so like it's not hard to make this thing over access code. And the battle protection means that, so at my locals there's like a couple virtual world players, and if they summon a Final Sigma, this thing is better than the access code because you can like crash into it, this doesn't die, and then change them into defense and attack again, and this is gained 1500. Yeah. Also, just sometimes just changing something to defense on the opponent's turn can be enough in really simplified game states, which is what this deck kind of excels at doing, is simplifying the game state. Exceeds, pretty obvious what we're playing. We're playing one Dryden, one Chakanine, one Tiger Mortar, one Borbo, and the one copy of Zeus. This is basically the least number of Zeus you can get away with playing. The Zeus is a free board clear. This card's probably going to get hit at some point. Probably after the tins, you know, get it out there as an ultra, get it available. And then ban list or two later, you hit it to 1 or hit it to 0, because this card is absolutely absurd. I think this could be one of the few cards that actually does get errated. I think they could errata this to be a hard once per turn. Because having one card access to this is way too good. Like, I get Evenly's a card, but this is just a better Evenly because they can't judgment it. They can't, you know. Then Borbo is your one card into the Zeus. Tiger Mortar is pretty much just a stepping stone of this deck, but there are occasions where like you summon the rat, send a ram, make Mortar, equip the ram to it so that you have the trap protection. Chakanine is an extender. It summons a zoo from the grave. So if you say you're really starved on materials, you're in a simplified game state, summon the Chakanine, reborn a zoo, make Ferrogy, combo off. Chakanine's pretty good. And then obviously you're playing Dryden because Dryden is one of the best cards ever made. Just quick effect, target face-up card. Target face-up card on the field, destroy it. The fact that it's one card just to get a pop is really, really nice. The fact you can blow up your own stuff, trigger the effects. Like there's been occasions where I've blown up a charade on my side of the field just to get the search. Dryden is obviously still really, really good. May not be 2017, but the card is still absurd. And as much as I'd like it back at more than 1, it probably never will. Side deck, 2 copies of Alpha. The side deck's kind of tight, so this may go to 3, this may stay at 2. But this card is really, really good. It's also searchable in the deck off of the Charade. So say you're playing the game, you go to game 3, and you're going first because you lost game 2. You can actually leave one of these sided in because you're going to go to a simplified game state. And if your opponent starts to get ahead, you can send the Charade, you have a load banished, and you actually just add the Alpha, and the Alpha will then turn the tables around for you. So this card is really, really good, and the reason you can get away with 2 is because it is somewhat searchable. You also dig through a lot of the deck with the Tri-Brigades and the Zodiacs. So just having the board clear is nice. And the amount of pressure this one card applies is absolutely insane. Then we have, flying everywhere. 2 Nibs. Nib's good. Nib's always been good. Absolutely murders Prankids. This card's just really, really nice to have. Also, occasionally this will just kill a Dragon Link board, and when it does, such a cathartic feeling. Really, really nice to have. Then the last hand trap I'm siding is Skullmeister, 2 copies, so we'll go 2/2/2. The Skullmeisters are for things like Virtual World and Eldritch, so you hit the Golem Lands, you hit the Sanguines. There's some other niche stuff it hits. It hits like one of the weird random Dragunity cards that just came out in Ghost from the Past, because it like banishes 2 for cost and summons itself from grave. This hits that as well. It's just a nice niche interaction. It replaces Bells. So say that the deck you're playing against doesn't die to Bell, you put the Skullmeisters in, or the Nibs. Back row removal, I'm playing Cosmics because I still think this is better because you banish. I know they're going to side in Lanciers against you, and I know they're going to Lancier you to end your turn. But, you know, you can set this, and on the opponent's turn, they like Activate Meltdown, banish it, activate Sanguine, banish it so they don't get the recursion, they don't get the Conquistador, they get the Eldritch, no Conquistador. Cosmic on Eldland, Cosmic on Prankit's Place, on Prankit's Pranks, on Shadol Schism, and like not letting them get the recursion, especially against Eldritch, not letting Eldritch get the recursion is just so good. Even at times like banishing an invocation so that they can't get the Alistair in hand. If you're in a really, really basic game state and then they can't negate with the Mechaba, that's like really good. So there's like some 5,000 IQ plays you can do with Cosmic. Equally, 5,000 IQ plays you can do with Twin Twisters because it triggers the Tri-Brigades, but I don't know. I like Cosmic this format. Personal taste. Going first, we side 3 Judgment because Judgment is really, really good and is just generically decent against every deck. The summon negation is fine unless you're playing against your opponent and they just like hard invocation. But even then, you negate the invocation. So this card hits Meltdown, this card hits Sanguine, it hits like all the back row of the format. So if your opponent's going second, this stops the Dart Ruler, this stops the Forbidden Droplets. Your opponent is never sending a trap off a Forbidden Droplet. So this turns it off and basically saves you bacon from getting OTK'd. And TC Boo, because yes, you play a lot of Beast Warriors and a lot of Winged Beasts, but are you, I don't know, it's weird. When you're playing the combo, you realize that you make exactly one Beast Warrior, one Winged Beast, and you actually play around TC Boo on your own. The only thing this turns off in your deck is the Zoo portion, but again, we're only playing 3 Zoos, and say you have TC Boo, you just don't do the combo that searches you out the Rapier. You just don't search out the Zoo part of the deck, you just set this and you search like a Fractal for the follow through for the next turn. Because this is an auto win against things like Shadol, things like Eldritch. Like you flip this against an Eldritch player, all of their back row is turned off. This card is mental. Definitely worth siding. Maybe even maining, depending on personal preference. But that is, I do believe, about it for this deck. That is pretty much everything that goes into it. This last pile is just the tokens I've been using. Really, really fun, really, really good. Absurdly so. Definitely worth trying out if you're looking for a new deck to play for the new format. And probably pretty safe from the July ban list as well, because thinking about it, July ban list, they might limit Zeus. That's about the only thing in this deck I could see them hitting. Unless, whereas like the Bird Up deck, there is a chance that they hit the Barrier Statue, that they hit the Samorg Link. There's things that like, there's risks that exist in the Bird Up variant for hits, and it's way easier to hit, both in terms of hand traps and ban lists, that aren't the case for this deck. Like the only thing I can really see that would kill this deck would be if they like rebanned Dryden, and then you just play pure Tri-Brigade because Bear Bloom will be out and you don't need the Dryden anymore. But thanks for checking it out. Sorry I forgot a bit rambly there towards the end. I'm just really, really hyped about this deck. I really, really love it. I think it's so cool, and I love the way that it plays. Yeah, that's about it.